Previously on the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hard Knocks debuted the 2021 season last night on HBO. I watched it, featuring America's team, the Dallas Cowboys. And it's funny, this morning, USA Today had a headline, 5 takeaways from Hard Knocks. I started reading it. I'm like, what am I reading this for? I don't need your 5 takeaways. I got a couple. Number one, I was not the biggest Dak Prescott fan. I think people that watch this show know that. I'm less of a Dak Prescott fan coming out of watching this show. What a whiner. What a whiner. Look, I understand you want to take every rep. I get it. You can't take every single rep. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
He was very upset
that he couldn't.
That he was pulled early in this training camp a couple of weeks ago because they want to give the backups some work. Danny Bonaducci, the backup quarterback. Well, Ben DiNucci is his name, but I call him Danny Bonaducci, which means nothing to you, do you? He was the star of the Partridge Family. Anyways, that was one. Dak, come on, stop whining. Let these other guys have some work. And then, of course, he ends up getting hurt. 2, the biggest one was Jarrah. When he was talking to the team, I thought it was the head therapist. You said it was the team doctor.
Yeah, it was one of the two.
Yeah. So he's writing with an HB pencil these notes on Dak, talking with the medical staff on the phone. And we all take away different things. But my thing was this. He's eating a McDonald's Egg McMuffin, Jarrah Jones. And people are saying, well, what's odd about that? He's worth $7-8 billion. How did he not have a Red Seal chef at his ready? You know, here you go, Mr. Jones. We, with his choice, an omelet station.
Yeah, exactly. He's got Benedict or something like.
Right. An omelet station. A guy cutting a roast at the end of the table. Jerry, when you're done with the trainer, we have your choice here of ham, roast beef. Do you want that in your omelet, Mr. Jones?
Get ready for the Rod Pedersen Show.
We were on the road with the Rough Riders. Joe Womack was our strength coach, and he was rooming with Ron Estee. I'm coming down the elevator with Joe Womack, and he is so mad. And I'm like, what's wrong, Joe? And he goes, you wouldn't believe what Estee did. He's in his underwear, and he emptied the mini box. Smarties and the Kit Kats, thinking it's free, thinking it was a gift basket. And Joe looks at me, it ain't fun.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Happy Tuesday, everybody. Welcome to the RP Show. Hope you're having a great one. It's episode number 1130, believe it or not, of your favorite daytime sports talk show in Canada and the USA on Game Plus Television, WQEE Radio. Our nickname's The Key in Atlanta, right? Ryan O Radio down there in the Peach City. And YouTube, of course, YouTube Live and streaming. I'm here in South Florida. Moose is in Toronto. I'm going to guarantee you right now, guarantee you that we're going to have just the most fun today, Darren, talking a lot of hockey. But, of course, it's Tuesday. That means we're coming off the heels of Monday Night Football. We got some football news and some buzz to get to, but it's going to be a lot of hockey. I will just say, hey, Kevin the Medium has checked in. He says, happy Cyber Tuesday. Is that what it is? Cyber Tuesday? Away we go. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing great. Yeah, doing awesome. It's a big night. Last night was a big night, football, hockey, but I feel like tonight might be just a little bit bigger. So it's a good day.
Quite interesting you say that. Was discussing, I'll just tell you this, Matthew Barnaby coming up in hour 1, famed NHL super pest, and 18th all-time in NHL penalty minutes, Matthew Barnaby in hour 1. Hour 2, Stephen Ellis from the Hockey News. Really good friend of ours, really good guy, and a really big Leaf fan. Daily Faceoff. Don't hold that against him that he's a Leaf fan. Those are the guests today. And can you hit the quick 6 show horn, please, Director Jordan? And what you're going to get today is a lot of full disclosure. Honesty, that's what we do here. I had coffee with a buddy of mine. He's probably watching right now, Greg. He's from Delray Beach, Florida. And I said how, hey, in this recovery business, we favor the truth. Honesty, it's the truth business. And he goes, well, maybe you can bring truth to sports and you'll be that guy, the shining beacon of truth. I'm like, yeah, but they don't want that. Just so you know, the teams and the leagues don't want that. But I'll tell you in a second what I'm referring to and why. You're going to get transparency here. But there's breaking news on this Tuesday. I want your take and everybody's take. Patrick Kane is signing with the Detroit Red Wings. A person with knowledge of this decision told the Associated Press today. The 35-year-old Kane was an unrestricted free agent rehabbing from hip resurfacing surgery in June. He has been skating since August and told the AP in September that he was starting to feel like his old self again. Well, that same source reporting today that he's signing with the Detroit Red Wings. The three-time Stanley Cup champion with Chicago and 2016 league MVP chose Detroit over other suitors, including his hometown Buffalo Sabres, the Toronto Maple Leafs, and the reigning Eastern Conference champion Florida Panthers. After the Blackhawks and Rangers, he joined after a pre-trade deadline deal. The Red Wings are set to become Kane's third original 16. And I'll stop there and go with that. The one thing, it was just last week. I'm not going to out the guy, but it was in the press box at Amerint Bank Arena. A guy looked me right in the face. I'm not going to say, other than he was with the Panthers organization, he said, Kane's coming. He's coming, you know. He's coming here. I took that to Twitter. This guy's rarely wrong. Looks like he's a big pile of wrong right now. And I had people tweeting me at the Cats and Bolts account, Darren, saying, you're wrong, he's going to Detroit. I'm like, okay, I was just reporting what the buzz was. And I'm kind of sitting here going, whether it be pro football buzz or hockey talk, if you didn't, I guess I could sit here and not say anything. It's the way the business is. Hype. Let's go and call out all the NHL insiders like Frank Saravelli, who said Florida was leading, and all the, I don't want to be that guy. You want to hear the buzz or do you not want to hear the buzz? Everybody wants to hear it. But when it's not true, people want to come back and go, na-na-na, boo-boo. Can't have both, I don't think. What do you think?
No, you can't. But I think this is a good move. It's an excellent move for Detroit. It's a fairly low hit. It's not the 10+ million that he was making on the last deal in Chicago.
2.75 million.
And prorated for the rest of the season, right? So not bad. We'll see what it turns into production-wise. Pretty low risk. Detroit's a team right now that's in 4th place in the East. They have a game in hand on Florida. If they win that game in hand, they'll be tied with the Panthers for 3rd in the conference. So they're a team that's very much in the mix. And you bring in a guy like Patrick Kane that instantly adds veteran leadership into your locker room. It adds another skill set, depth up front. And it tells your team that we're not just happy to be here. We actually want to win some more games, and we want to take a real run at this thing. So I like this move from Detroit. And for Patrick Kane, he's on a young, exciting, fun team to watch with a lot of stars where he doesn't have to come in and be relied on as the guy. I think it's a good move, both sides.
I think whomever he signed with, it would have been a good move because he's that player. We're going to find out how healthy he is. There is more to the story here, by the way, from the Canadian Press story. Patrick Kane's attempting to become only the 3rd player to come back to the NHL from this type of invasive hip operation, following defenseman Ed Jovanovski and center Nicholas Backstrom. Jovo played only 37 games afterwards, but Backstrom recently stepped away from the Washington Capitals 47 games into his attempt amid concerns about how his artificial left hip was holding up. With a return this season, unlikely. But, yeah, we'll see. You would assume he's getting the best medical care. Detroit sitting here today, 3rd in the Atlantic Division, 11-6-3. So no matter, it would have been a good move for the Sabres. It would have been a good move for the Panthers. Might have been a good move for the Leafs. But it's Detroit that he's going to. I still think he's got gas in the tank, hip surgery aside. 6 points in 7 playoff games last year. That's the breaking news. Now I'll move on to what was upset Monday on the Monday night. And this is where the transparency is going to come in. Not this game in Columbus where Yegor Chinakhov had a goal and an assist, lifting the Blue Jackets to a 5-2 win over Boston. It's the Bruins' 3rd straight loss. In New York, Alex Tuck scored twice, and Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen stopped 25 shots as Buffalo upset the first-place Rangers 5-1. And Mackenzie Weegar scored with 5 seconds to go in overtime, lifting Calgary past Vegas 2-1. All those games would be listed as pretty considerable upsets. In Denver, Ryan Johansson scored twice. Alexander Georgiev made 37 saves, and Colorado won its fourth in a row. They beat Tampa 4-1. And the game everybody's talking about happened in Ottawa. Sam Reinhart scored 2 goals, and Sergei Bobrovsky made 20 saves to lead Florida past the Senators 5-0. Bob's second shutout of the season gave him 40 for his career, and it helped Matthew Tkachuk get the better of his little brother, Sens captain Brady Tkachuk. The full disclosure is this. I went to bed after the second period. It was 3-0 Florida. I'm like, this game's, it's over. Sens got nothing. They're playing terribly. It's over. I got up this morning very early to go work out at the new facility that Serena's working at, Johnny O's. Take her first ever class that she's coaching. My phone's blowing up. When you get Chris Sanford's attention, Chris from the Bronx, he texted me and said, those Tkachuks sure know how to put on a show. Thad sent me the video of the referee going, everybody on the ice has 10-minute misconducts. It was a literal brouhaha. And we don't have brouhahas anymore. Darren, it was a Donnybrook. So I guess I don't feel bad that I went to bed and missed it all. I had to sit and watch NHL Network and slow it down and replay this and say, how exactly did this start and who exactly is to blame and how exactly many penalty minutes were handed out? Paul Maurice referred to it as a little squirrely. I think it was about 4-0 when it happened. It was largely unnecessary. And I guess the bigger question, who cares? Florida won 5-0. They go into Toronto tonight. That's the main thing. But from an NHL perspective, this is where I got a little turned off. This, Darren, you're too young to know. Grasshopper, this used to happen every game. And I wouldn't have been going to bed after the second period if this was 1998.
Yeah.
Why would I expect there would be a Donnybrook? There's never a Donnybrook. And Ken Danico on NHL Network today said it's a novelty because this never happens. And everybody's loving the video of the Tkachuk's grandma in the crowd, and she's horrified that her grandsons are fighting, which, by the way, if you looked at both of their faces, Brady and Matthew, they're just grinning. This stuff's fun. Why does the NHL not want this? Because everybody's talking about it, especially here where they never talk about hockey. Why is this a swear word and they don't want this kind of stuff? I don't get it.
Yeah, I know. It was fun. At the end of the day, it was fun. And, you know, I saw the photos and then the pan shots of the camera shots of the benches with nobody left on it. Like, you know, usually they'll have a skirmish, not a full-out Donnybrook, and they'll take like 2 guys and they'll give them offsetting roughings. Not everybody's getting 10s. That's it. We're all going to the box. It is fun because it doesn't happen every night. When it happens every night, I think you kind of get tired of it. But this is good. When the emotion comes to the surface at times, it shows you that they care a little bit. And for Ottawa to have a little bit of pushback in a game that was just completely out of control for them. It was fun, and now we're talking about it. Last night was it was fully entertaining.
Just checking in from the Rod Squad here right now, or the Wad Squad, as some would say. Waddy. You know, Tristan. Waddy.
I got you.
Swerve in Calgary says, my grandma would have been hanging over the boards. Yeah. Robin in Prince Albert says, I'm checking in somewhere between Drumheller and Oyen, heading back to PA. He's watching on the road. Be very careful there. Moose and I hit the ditch on an icy, remember that? Ooh, I was just thinking about that the other day. I've had an NHL scout text me here and says, it wasn't a Donnybrook, Rod. Relax. Yes, it was. I mean, just because it wasn't a full 20-on-20 bench-clearing brawl, which will never happen. So what are you saying? I didn't miss anything? Is that what you're saying? That, Darren, help me out. Was that a Donnybrook or was that not a Donnybrook?
Well,
that was a Donnybrook.
I know. I would say that's fair to you know, to call it that, but like, do we need like the national security scale of like yellow to orange to red? Like, at what point does it go from a skirmish to a melee to a Donnybrook to a,
Well,
you know?
you need blood, and there was blood. The Jake Sanderson, Matthew Tkachuk fight, there was blood out of that. Is that what you want? Blood, you thirsty animal?
How about
Yeah, we want blood. Kill, kill, kill. So, yeah. John Burns in Calgary writes in and says, hey, the Flames get the win. How about that? That NHL scouts texted me. It's coming up on my laptop here. I try to find some way to get that disconnected. Not that I don't want to hear from that scout. He goes, there was one fight. I'm like, yeah, well, why is everybody talking about it then today? Why? Which, by the way, I mean, Brady Tkachuk took a little run at Bob, and that's what started the melee. What are officially we calling it? I didn't say it was a Donnybrook, did I? I said it was a brouhaha. There's a difference. I saw somebody saying today on Twitter, this will never end until Brady and Matthew fight. Well, they're never going to fight, so this is going to go on forever. They've gone on record as saying they're never going to fight. So, are you saying I didn't miss anything? Because according to this, I think it was 160-some penalty minutes. Paul Maurice, listen, go to our Cats and Bolts Twitter account. I got the clip from Paul Maurice on there. And he goes, hey, this is what makes the game great. It's grace and it's beautiful mixed with this aggression, you know? So I guess we're sitting here talking about it. I'll say it again. I don't know why the NHL wouldn't want people buzzing about it. I get your point. And when it happens every once in a while, they're okay with it. When it happens every night, they're not. On the Flames, everybody, we'll get to the Monday Night Football and other football-related stuff. Just stand down, okay? We're talking hockey right now. On the Flames, so they beat, what was the 2-1, 3-2, whatever it was. The Flames beat Vegas in overtime. And I said to Serena this morning, I said, it's a real shame Canadians don't get the NHL Network. Like, I love it so much. Probably largely because it's different than what you get crammed down your throat every day by TSN and SportsCenter. But Ken Danico on there, former Yorkton Terrier, by the way, Ken Danico, saying, and the host, can't remember her name because it's a different one every show. She's like, how about those Flames? 7-3-1 in their last 11. And I'm like, oh. And I don't really want to call anybody out in the media because I do the same. But I thought we needed to break down the team and have a rebuild here. I thought they needed to sell. Where are y'all that said let's trade everybody and go young? What is it? I would like to say that I said Ryan Huska knows what he's doing and this team will figure it out. Give them time. A little late for Jay Woodcroft and Dean Evison, wouldn't you say? And if this wasn't Ryan Huska's first year, he probably would have been fired by now, given the start. So, hey, you got less than a minute. What do you think about the Flames? Are they legit or are they not?
I'm with you. What you said, I think it was yesterday, Rod, when you said, look, it took Paul Maurice till Christmas, and I think probably a little longer than that for the Panthers to buy in on the message and change the culture a little bit and get things moving in the right direction. So I think we have to give Ryan Huska some time. And look at this last 10-game stretch, we're seeing things start to work in the way that maybe we thought they would at the beginning of the year. So I think things will continue to trend in the right direction because they've got the right coach.
Yeah. Listen, we need a break. There's so much going on. I told you we were going to have fun today. This NHL person, he's not letting it go with regards to what happened last night. And he wants to bring up the 80s. Okay. I'm not the Donnybrook police. We'll talk NFL, CFL, NBA, Pro Football Hall of Fame. Lots on the go. When we come back, we're live on the Game Plus Television Network, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the city of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new Halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at iksgameday.com.
Hey, hockey fans, Darren Dupont here with another edition of the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League Report. Let's get to the weekend's action. SGEU MVP Cade Meiklejohn of Weyburn, 7 goals in 3 games this past week. Weyburn big win over Estevan on Saturday. And Flin Flon really hot, 5 out of 6 points on the weekend. So the standings, Flin Flon remaining at the top. And my Kindersley Clippers, I'm an alum, they need to string together some wins, sitting just outside 9th place right now, even with the Estevan Bruins. Let's look at 3 games to watch this weekend. Melfort's at Flin Flon on Wednesday this week. Flin Flon, 15 of their last 16 points they've secured. On Friday, Estevan's at Battleford's, red hot teams there. And on Saturday, Yorkton visits LaRange, looking to move closer to securing playoff spots. There's the SJHL report. I'm Darren Dupont.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Hi, everybody. The RP show continues, and I should tell you, I haven't looked at it yet, but I'm about to. The Sober Carpenter text line is open, 902-518-3033. Sober Carpenter, non-alcoholic craft beers, proud partners of the RP show and sponsors of the text line. I told you that I have that exact array that we show up on the screen in my fridge, and I dragged them out here today. I got them all. Let's bring in Moose. The cans are sweating, but it's not as hot here today, Moose, as most days. Just so you know, there's the weather report. I'm going to crack one of these puppies right now. This is the Black IPA.
Why not?
Woo!
Yeah, why not?
It's just so darn delicious. Oh, it really is good. Available at Total Wine and Spirits here in South Florida in Boca Raton, Town Center Mall. And Google your city, your town, and Sober Carpenter. It'll pop up where it's available. Fun till
GTA.
Daddy. Well, there you go. Whole Foods, the GTA. How about that?
Yeah.
How about that, Rick Regan? How about that? Okay, boy, it's not happening, Rod. Breaking news from the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. They have signed their entire management team. Kyle Walters, Ted Gavaya. And who was the other one? Oh, wait a minute. They're not in the room, I don't think. Kyle Walters, Ted Gavaya, Danny McManus, all staying in Winnipeg. And I'll get to the more CFL news in a moment. It's just interesting with the Flames. It's, look, it's a little much. It's predictable. The Flames are like any NHL Canadian team. I'm going to tell you, I've been here long enough in Florida and the United States to tell you, NFL teams aren't this way. NHL fans are more intense. I'm not joking. On this continent. Soccer, Europe, different story. Never been there, don't know. When it comes to NHL hockey, fans are a little touched in Canada. B. Henderson, who is, by the way, in Winnipeg, writes in and says, the Flames will be selling at the deadline. Book it. From Jason in Red Deer, the Puck and Pigskin podcast, says, I don't like fans of any team that get all worked up and want to clear out everyone. Yeah, well, that's everybody. Jordan in Calgary says, with the goaltending the Flames have, I think they could be a playoff team. They have the same goalies as last year when they missed. Just putting that out there. You know what I'm saying? It's the same goalies. Yeah. So you can't say that. And by the way, coming up next hour, we'll look at tonight's NHL games. By the way, Johnny Ohm, how about that? John Ohm says, I'm really liking this fired up, Rod. Those Johnny O gym workouts got you pumped up, bro. You got to come check out Johnny. It's where the pros train. Did I think that at age 50 I'd be working out at the home gym of NFL stars Joey and Nick Bosa, Chris Cotta, Major Wright, Zach Tom? I didn't expect that. But like I said, Serena just started working there today. They came to her. This is just a thing. She's coaching a couple classes a week because they need it. It's walkable from our house. Johnny O's. It's the greatest. He's a real cool guy today. Tell you a story about Johnny O. It's on my Facebook. The photo of him, it's on the story. I'll have to post it to our channels, Darren. I wouldn't be telling you this if it wasn't entertaining. Johnny O, Johnny Olson, told me today about the time he met Bobby Orr. He grew up in Boston, Johnny O, and he couldn't afford to go to Bruins tickets. They were too expensive, and the games were all sold out. So in 1980, there was an alumni game. They were playing up at Harvard. So Johnny's like, with a bunch of friends, let's get tickets and go watch Bobby Orr. Well, they get up there. They don't have a goalie. So like, can anybody play goal? We got the pads. What do you think I did, Rod? I put the pads on. I knew how to skate. I didn't know how to play goal. First time meeting Bobby O, he's shooting on me. That was Johnny O's story today of meeting Bobby Orr. Oh, man. When you come back to Florida, you'll meet him. He said he was on a cruise 20-ish years ago, and guess who was on the cruise? One of the Golden Girls. The oldest one. What's the oldest one? Sophia, Johnny. Oh, yeah, Sophia. She was on the cruise. That's today. That's life. And so just with regards to the Donnybrook that went on in Ottawa last night, I'm sorry. I went to bed after the second period. I didn't expect it. This NHL scout saying, well, in the 80s, let's ask Ron Hextall. What do we want to go back to the 80s where Ron Hextall took his goalie stick and used it like an axe and almost killed someone? Yeah, we don't want that. Nobody's advocating for that. If it goes just as far as last night where guys get a little bumped, we're all good. I'm going to save some of these comments until the hour 2 where we look ahead to last night because I'm way off track here. Number 2, the 2024 NHL All-Star Weekend, hosted by the Maple Leafs at Scotiabank Arena in Toronto, will be expanded to a 3-day event. The All-Star Weekend celebration will feature NHL All-Star Thursday on February 1st. The NHL All-Star Player Draft represents the return of a concept that was an entertaining and engaging element of previous All-Star weekends. Have you heard this, Moose? The captains of the 4 All-Star teams will be paired with celebrity captains. They'll select their teams from the remaining pool of All-Star players in a televised draft on that NHL All-Star Thursday night. That's this upcoming February. Do you like that idea or not? I'm not. We're all going to watch. We all watched back in the day. Was Phil Kessel not the last guy left in the one All-Star
He
game where they're
was.
picking the team.
And
What was the
Alexander
last one?
Ovechkin was snapping photos of him sitting in the chair, right? We all remember that. He ended up winning a car for it.
Right. So
But
at the
still.
very least, were you ever the last one on the playground being picked? I got to think it's a scarring feeling. I'll be honest, luckily, I wasn't, but I know the kids that were. That's what we have here. The NHL wouldn't have brought it back if they didn't think it was entertaining or so forth. So maybe that would have been a good poll question. We're getting to the poll question, though. But you're okay with it? You're okay? You sign off on the All-Star draft?
I do. Excuse me. I do, because I don't think we have I don't believe that as hockey fans we have a real attachment to the divisions. Like, I don't think the divisions mean much to us anymore. Eastern Conference, Western Conference used to. That had some meaning. A little bit of the North America versus the world kind of did, because it was the Europeans versus basically the Canadians and the Americans. This will be interesting because they talk about who will they pick. Well, you get a team of Canadians picking other Canadians and Americans picking Americans. Will you get guys picking their teammates? When you got to choose between Leon Draisaitl or Connor McDavid, who are you going to pick? And having some fun that way. And then you get some guys who are friends getting to play together. It could be a little more interesting because I don't think the division thing works.
Well, I'll be honest. I'll probably watch the draft, but not the game. And I was there in Sunrise this year. It wasn't good. And part of it I was in the press box for, and I overheard two media members going, "Can you imagine paying $250 for this?" I'm like, I did. This is a joke. It's terrible. And I don't think that's going to change, so I'll probably watch the draft. But the game's bad, and that's not even really the NHL's fault. It's just the way that it is. Point 3, the Minnesota Wild fired Coach Dean Evason Tuesday and replaced him with John Hines. They fired him. What's today? Tuesday? They fired him on Monday, replaced him with John Hines after losing 7 in a row. General Manager Bill Guerin announced the moves, including the firing of assistant coach Bob Woods, the pride of Leroy, Saskatchewan. The 59-year-old Everson from Winnipeg had 3 full seasons in charge of the Wild, who gave him his first head coaching job in the NHL February 14th, 2020, replacing Bruce Boudreau. All-time, Everson, 147 wins, 77 losses, and 27 extra time losses. I don't even know. That's above 750 winning percentage. You're fired. Poll question, if you don't like it, blame Clark. It was his idea. I like it. Poll question today is for Key Auto Group. At the Key Auto Group, you can buy with confidence knowing that they provide reports on all vehicles they sell. Get fully informed about your next vehicle by going to keyautogroup.ca. Who deserved to be fired more? Jay Woodcroft of Edmonton or Dean Evason in Minnesota? Well, knowing that these guys are disposable now, it doesn't matter. Even Reinbold said it on this show Friday. You're hired to be fired, or 2 Fridays ago. I got to say Jay Woodcroft, because to be honest with you, I don't think he deserved to be fired at all. It was way too early. We're not even, at that time, not even close to the 20-game mark. Evason, 7 games in a row, and I think 14 of 19 to start the season. Yeah, probably had to go. But I've said it enough that I can't even say it anymore. It's becoming too repetitive. Why would you want to be a coach? My God. And as Clark said, if you don't mind me saying, Clark, why does John Hines keep getting jobs? He gets fired everywhere. It's almost at a point where if you get fired now, it doesn't even mean you're bad. It's just, we got to do something, so you will walk the plank. That's what it is now, I think.
Yeah, a lot of the times that's exactly what it is. And for Dean Evason, you rattled off the record. If that's what his record is as a coach, got a pretty good resume that he'll be able to find another job and probably be back behind a bench before long. It's similar to Paul Maurice, in Winnipeg, that he felt maybe the message just wasn't getting through the same way that it was. Minnesota was a team that we thought was going to continue to take a step forward and be better this year than they have been, so they need to make changes. But when it comes to the poll, who deserved it more, I don't know if either coach deserved it because they're both good coaches. But I'll go with Woodcroft just because the fact that I think the Oiler expectations were just so high. And when they're in second last place in the entire National Hockey League, something's got to go. And it's got to be the coach in that situation. So, yeah.
I want to map this out, and I should have done it off this top. Next hour, we'll talk a lot more Canadian Football League stuff, like the Bombers re-signing their people, the Rough Riders head coach search. We just don't have time for it here. Don't want to dedicate it enough time. So in hour 2, first segment, we'll spend more on it. Point 4, Cairo Santos connected on a 30-yard field goal for Chicago with 10 seconds left. And the Bears had 4 interceptions off Joshua Dobbs in a defense-dominated 12-10 NFL victory over the Minnesota Vikings Monday night. Justin Fields lost 2 fumbles in the fourth quarter, but with excellent protection on 3rd and 10 near midfield. He hit DJ Moore for 36 yards to put the Bears at the 13 with 55 seconds to go. They drained the clock to set up the winning kick and stop a 12-game losing streak against NFC North opponents. That's a bit of the problem because I'm like, I woke up this morning so early. It was up at before 5 a.m. to go to this 6 a.m. class. By the time I got around to the Monday Night Football score, I'm like, was that last night? What day is it today? I'm all out of sorts. And on the NFL vein, 3-time All-Pros Julius Peppers and Antonio Gates were chosen as semifinalists for the Pro Football Hall of Fame's class of 2024 in their first year of eligibility. Peppers was one of the league's most dominant linemen, a legend in Charlotte, while Gates is 3rd all-time in catches and yards among NFL tight ends. He was a stud, too. So, Moose, you got an idea what we're going to do in hour 2. I'll bid you adieu for now. Thank you for your contributions.
We'll see you then.
You betcha. Is Barney ready to go? Okay. We'll take a brief pause. I'll be back. Matthew Barnaby's take on all these NHL items when we come back. We're live on Game Plus Television, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the city of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new Halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at IKSGameDay.com.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. DDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
RP Show continues. 10 games in the NHL tonight, including the Panthers at Leafs. What else we got? Dallas Stars at Winnipeg. Huge Central Division clash there. Connor Bedard in Chicago, home to Seattle. Oilers welcome Vegas. Vancouver Canucks welcome Anaheim. But we got to look. We're not done with last night. Let's bring in Matthew Barnaby. It was in his backyard up there in Ottawa, if you are in Ottawa. The Panthers spanked the Sens 5-0, Barney, and there was this. Listen, I went to bed after the second period. I'm like, this one's over. Did I miss something or did I not miss something? Because old school guys are saying this is nothing. What do you think?
You know what? It was the Kachucks being Kachucks, and you take either of those guys leading your team. They're as close to old school as you can get with talent. So in an uneventful game that it was for the Ottawa Senators, a big win for the Florida Panthers. The third period was exciting. It was a little throwback hockey. It was it wasn't much to see, but it was a lot to see at the same time. No one got hurt. Some good scraps, but I love the Kachuk brothers. Absolutely love them.
Okay, so that was a page out of your playbook. Basically, you were a fan of what went on then.
Yeah, I mean, again, there was nothing malicious. Maybe the McEwen hit on Kachuk and then he jumps him. That might have been a little over the top. You know, Matthew Kachuk going after the goaltender. Just it was nothing bad. But yeah, I like seeing a little bit. I don't turn in to see fights anymore. I tune in to see great hockey. But if a fight happens and that kind of extracurricular stuff happens, I'm certainly not going to bed or going for a hot dog, as they say, at that game. I'm enjoying it, but I take it for what it is.
As you say, if we were watching for the fights, we'd be disappointed every night. That's why I went to bed. I'm like, nothing's going to happen here. I should have known. Next time the Kachucks go head-to-head, I will not. It's on me. But listen, Barney, with all these firings, Jay Woodcroft, now Everson, and probably soon DJ Smith, is it not out of control? Is it not out of control? I feel like it is. What do you think?
Well, I think when you look at, where a team is and expectations are where they are, and Edmonton, listen, was it all Jay Woodcroft's fault? No. Defense isn't good enough. The goaltending hasn't been good enough. Connor McDavid and Draisaitl early on weren't great. Now you have McDavid that has 12 points in the last 4 games, and you're going to see them start winning games. But the problem is you're looking for a jolt, and the only way you can get that jolt, so you're not. The carnivores are coming in and trying to rob you of your good players and not making you fair offers. So I think ideally you'd like to make a trade. Unfortunately, when your team is struggling, other GMs are trying to come in and rob you. And the only real thing you have is to fire a coach. I think it's almost inevitable that DJ is the next one that is gone. The team has been up and down defensively, not the best team in the league, but they got to sell it to their fans. I think it comes down to, showing that they're going to do something. I'm a New York Jets fan. We've been through this a million times. I don't think we fire our coach, but certainly if they don't start off next year the way that they are, he'll be the one to go. And I think DJ, if they don't win 3 out of the next 5 or 6 of the next 10 and keep themselves relatively close, that's just what happens. That's the nature of the beast in this game.
Well, you need somebody running the show, and I mean a GM or maybe an owner, but there's no owners really that know anything about this team that they own or the sport. But my point is, like the Sens, are they bad or are they just playing bad? Because last night they were awful. I know the Panthers were good, but I'm like, this team's bad.
Yeah, defensively they're bad. Defensively they're bad, and they're good offensively. They got a lot of good things that go on this team, but you look for consistency, and when you talk about consistency, that comes down to coaching, because ultimately he puts out the guys, he implements the systems, and when you lose 5-0 at home against a good team, Florida's a really good team. They went to the Stanley Cup Finals last year, but ultimately that rests on the coach, and DJ knows that. I like DJ Smith a lot. I hope they don't get rid of him. Unfortunately, the fan base is at a point now, and you also have an owner that just took over that DJ wasn't his guy. I think they liked DJ, but ultimately it wasn't Steve Staios' guy. It wasn't Mike Landauer's guy. And when you don't have success and they expect to make a splash when you spend $1 billion American on a team, you expect to be in a playoff position where this team is now. So long-winded answer to your question, they aren't as bad as they were last night, and they should be better than they are where they are.
Okay, thank you. To the Leafs and Panthers tonight, looking ahead, I can't believe that Brad Treliving had to call a news conference to just explain where they're at. Like, again, we're 20 games in. Everybody's saying, Rod, it's Toronto. It's Toronto. Well, then you're idiots then. Let him coach the team. But what's your take on the Leafs right now?
Well, I think it is idiotic, but it is Toronto, and I do get that. But like, they're in a good spot right now. They haven't played great. They've been up and down. They've been inconsistent. But I don't think it's time to call a press conference and explain where you're at. Try to find ways to improve your team, and this team has to get better defensively as well. Like if they want to be a serious Stanley Cup contender, and I don't think that they are. This is a talented offensive team, but one of the big guys is going to have to go. One of the big guys, and I think that guy is probably Marner. Nylander he was great in the playoffs last year. He's been the best player this year so far, and Marner's the guy making around $11 million. So I think they have to try to find a way where they don't tie up that money, because right now there's no way, I just don't see it, even though the cap is going up by a few $1 million, that they're going to be able to afford Nylander and have all that money tied up in that top four. So I think it's trying to find a way to move Marner, bring in some D, because if they are going to be a serious contender, they need help on that back end. But it's Toronto. It's always a favorite, and they're the declared hockey mecca of the world.
Self-proclaimed. I get it. Hey, please give me instant analysis on Patrick Kane joining Detroit at 1 year, $2.75 million.
I actually didn't think he was going to get that much, but listen, they still have, I think, $5 million in cap space, or roughly around that. I thought he'd take a little less just to have more room at the deadline to acquire players. Now, this isn't a Stanley Cup contending team, so in that retrospect, I understand him taking that money. People that have come off hip surgeries, especially at 34, usually doesn't work out that well. I hope it does. I think it's a good landing spot for him, but he wasn't great with the New York Rangers. Now, obviously, now we know he was dealing with a severe hip injury, but I think he improves that team, but it's not a Stanley Cup contender any which way, and I just hope for Patty Kane that he's able to play well, extend his career, whether it's in Detroit or somewhere else.
Great analysis, Barney, and I should say, with Christmas coming up, your book is still for sale, unfiltered. I would tell anybody that they should pick it up. I'm sure they still can as a Christmas gift for somebody, the young hockey player in your life, the dad that's a fan of Barney like the rest of us. Where can they get Unfiltered?
They can get it at Amazon. Everything. Jeffrey Bezos has everything. So go to Amazon, pick it up. It was fun to write. I'm really appreciative of you enjoying the book and pushing it out there, but it was a lot of fun to write. And it's a pretty easy read.
Of course, you wrote it, but you sent it down to me here in Boca, and there's a lot of stuff in there people need to read, like your thoughts on Ted Nolan, number one, right? And just your road to the NHL is super inspirational, man. So, Barney, at the end of your career and why, it hit me. Barney, thanks for this. You always fill in. I appreciate you. Yeah, happy holidays.
You as well, buddy. To everyone, all the listeners out there as well. Be safe.
There you go. Have a safe holiday season, everybody. From the great Matthew Barnaby, 18th all-time in NHL penalty minutes, and pretty sure that ain't going to fall. We'll be right back with a sports update and audience takeover. We got a lot of comments come in here from the viewers, and I will map this out and say it again. We'll get to the CFL talk in hour 2, segment 1 for the CFL fans that have tuned in for that. 902-518-3033, Sober Carpenter text line, Sober Carpenter non-alcoholic craft beers. Google your city's name and Sober Carpenter to find out a vendor near you, or ask for it by name in your local beer, wine, and spirit store. We'll be right back on Game Plus Television, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Okay, we're back for this final segment of hour 1. And I guess I haven't read any viewer comments for a while. So let me go to the Sober Carpenter text line regarding that Flames win last night over Vegas. Ron Thompson in Calgary writes in at 902-518-3033. He says, Both goalies played awesome, but one of the saves Vladar made last night will be in top 10 saves of the year. Brian in Hudson Bay writes in and says, good day, guys. My Vikes were my Vikes again last night. Wonder how many Cousins haters changed their minds a bit. Wonder how many Cousins haters changed their minds a bit after last night. Love the Kane signing for my Wings. And he says, sounds like Mace or Buck for coach of the Riders. Who do you like? Have a good one. Signed, Brian at Hudson Bay. We'll push that into next hour. But again, Winnipeg offensive coordinator Buck Pierce, Toronto defensive coordinator Corey Mace are supposedly the final two finalists for the Saskatchewan Roughriders head coaching job. I have a lot of thoughts on this. If you can't wait, go to rodpedersen.com right now. It's on there. I think either one is a mistake. I think you should have hired somebody who's either played or coached in Saskatchewan before, because it is a unique animal. It's not imperative that you do. That's what I would do. And two, this is a pretty critical hire, to hire to somebody that's never been a head coach before in the CFL. Major, major gamble by the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Buffalo Bill writes in. It says, greetings and no hallucinations. Is it easier for Robert Kraft and crew to get a better coach after the season instead of the interim chaos? Well, let's just say it here. I don't think they're firing anybody now. So for whatever that reason is, they're not going to fire Bill Belichick in season. Sure, there'll be plenty way better candidates available at the end of the year. You know the answer to that. Buffalo Bill always asks questions he knows the answers to. I don't know why. Sports update on this Tuesday. The Toronto Maple Leafs are back at Scotiabank Arena for the first time since November 11th as they face the Florida Panthers tonight in NHL play. The Leafs are coming off back-to-back losses since returning from Sweden, where they played 2 games as part of the NHL's Global Series. Panthers smacked around the Ottawa Senators last night 5-0. The Edmonton Oilers look for a third straight win tonight when they host the Vegas Golden Knights. The Oilers have struggled much of the season, but won their last 2 games by a combined score of 13-2. The Winnipeg Jets host the Dallas Stars in a key Central Division matchup tonight. The teams are tied at 26 points, 4 behind division-leading Colorado. Also tonight, the Vancouver Canucks host the Anaheim Ducks. Toronto Raptors finish off a 2-game road trip when they take on the Brooklyn Nets in NBA play. Raps looking to rebound from a close 105-102 loss at Cleveland on Sunday. Brooklyn 2-0 on their current 5-game homestand. Sports update brought to you by Common Crown Brewing Company, turning your everyday common beer into a unique and exceptional experience. Visit commoncrown.ca. And for Landmark Cinemas in theaters now, 5 Nights at Freddy's. Can you survive 5 nights? Check them out now at Landmark Cinemas. Last minute of play in hour 1. I'm just jumping to the text line to see if anything new has come in, and it has not. What else do we have here? Swerve in Calgary says, Avery and Barney, the 2 chirpiest of all chirpers. Remember just a couple years ago, Matthew Barnaby challenged. He wanted to come out of retirement and fight Sean Avery. Avery didn't want to do it. I don't think they get along too good. Chad in Lethbridge says, Tom Barrasso said that Barney used to script his chirps when he played against him. Top 5 chirper, Matthew Barnaby. Oh, yeah, I feel like we got to somehow make Barney like a permanent part of this show. He's just so good. Hour 2 coming up after this brief pause.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the city of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at iksgameday.com.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
And we were on the road with the Rough Riders. Joe Womack was our strength coach, and he was rooming with Ron Estee. I'm coming down the elevator with Joe Womack, and he is so mad. And I'm like, what's wrong, Joe? And he goes, you wouldn't believe what Estee did. He's in his underwear, and he emptied the minibar. Smarties and the Kit Kats, thinking it's free, thinking it was a gift basket. And Joe looks at me, it ain't fun.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Hour 2 of the RP Show. If you're just joining us, you've missed a lot. Don't mind my old man glasses here. I've just realized there's a lot of guys rolling around South Florida that are my age almost exactly, wearing their glasses around their neck or tucked in their shirt. I'm like, well, if they can do it, I can do it. Bill Lindsay's cool. He can do it. Ed Jovanovski's cool. He does it. Johnny O does it at my new gym. Moose is a ways away from having to do that. As a matter of fact, he's with us from Toronto, and
I'm a fan of the glasses strings. I'm a fan.
Yeah. Oh, really? The Chris Jones?
Yeah.
The Chris Jones. Okay.
I will be fair. I have glasses, but I do have the glasses strings, but only for my sunglasses. I don't know if I put them on my reading glasses yet.
Yeah, I didn't even think. Are yours even prescription? I feel like you wear those when you want to look smart or to accentuate your outfit.
There's no lenses in there. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Do you wear glasses to broadcast football games? Do you wear glasses?
You know what? Sometimes. But I've actually, you and I have never talked about this, and maybe this is a conversation on the air. I've really started learning how to broadcast a game with the binoculars. And I find that I can't I can't wear glasses in the binoculars. So I just use the binoculars, and I end up not wearing the glasses. But in a hockey game, I would absolutely wear glasses, yeah.
People love the stories. They love the realism, and they're getting a lot of it today. But in 1999, when I started calling Rough Riders games, I got a tip, not from Dale Isaac directly, but through somebody from Dale Isaac. Dale said, Rod's doing a great job calling the games, but it doesn't sound like he has a spotter. I was getting the players wrong all the time. I didn't know how to call football. It was a hockey game.
Right.
So I got binoculars, and immediately that criticism went away. Makes a really big difference calling football. That's the one story. There could be more. Two, the brouhaha, whatever you want to call it, the melee that went on in Ottawa last night. Some saying it's a big deal, others saying it's not that big a deal. Whatever, I went to bed and I missed it all. And what I've realized, if you were watching the Matthew Barnaby last hour, the interview with Matthew Barnaby, was that Darren, and trust me, we're going to get your comments, everybody, as promised. This is on me that I went to bed. It was 3-0 Florida after 2. The game was bad. And I should have known the Kachucks are playing. The game's out of reach. Something stupid's going to happen. And I never stopped to think about it. And I woke up today and my phone was just blowing up. But people that don't normally pay attention. Chris from the Bronx, you knew Thad would be watching the game. Everybody's talking about it in South Florida, what a circus it was, and the Kachucks put on a show. And referee, have you ever seen a referee ever say, everybody on the ice is getting 10-minute misconducts? I've never seen it. I've been only watching hockey for almost 50 years. So that's why we love sports. You do never know what's going to happen, and that includes the Monday Nighter who had Chicago beating Minnesota 12-10. So I'm trying to limit my sports watching to one game a night, one game a day. And I know a lot of people will think that's crazy, but it's just too much. And to be honest, I've never been happier in life. So, by the way, we live in the best time of technology, by the way. Just so you know, here's today's life lesson. We've never had more creature comforts. I can go get a pair of glasses from the freaking grocery store. I got these at Cabela's or Bass Pro Shop. Used to have to go into the eye, pay for an eye exam. You just go pay $40 and get a pair of glasses you can read again. It's the best time to be alive. And yet people have never been more neurotic nor screwed up than this time in the history of the world. Mull on that for a second. Terry in Calgary writes in and he says, Terry the lawyer, he says, have I missed a discussion on the Corey Perry mess? No, you haven't missed anything because we're not talking about it. And I would encourage anybody, and a lot of our viewers, it looks like they are taking me up on this opportunity, and that is to go read my weekend column because the numbers are way up at rodpeterson.com. 10 things, 10 weekend things. One of the things that I had in my 10 things this weekend was the Corey Perry thing. The family has asked for privacy. The Chicago Blackhawks largely have too. Why can we not respect the man's privacy? Are we not at a time in society where that don't matter? He's asked for privacy. Can we not give it to him? And as far as what's going around on the Corey Perry thing, which 5 people forwarded to me yesterday, I'm not even dignifying it with a response, and shame on you for asking. Not even going there. Dumb. D-U-M-B. Okay. That's my take to open coming in guns a-blazing hour 2. What are your thoughts before I move on?
No, I completely agree with you. It is dumb. And, you know, when he wants to tell you what's going on, he'll tell you what's going on, if he ever does.
Well, furthermore, that's in my column. Whether he wants to say or not, it will eventually come out because it always comes out. That Tom Brady thing. It's a people problem, man. I'm not saying it's Terry the lawyer, but everybody else, smarten up. Tom Brady, people just could not respect his privacy. Why he left Buccaneers training camp for, what was it, 12 days in 2022? Yeah. And all the rumors, he's on the Masked Singer. He's doing this, No, he's fighting with his wife and he's about to get a divorce. Are you happy now? Because it came out weeks later. Sit tight. Think about something else. Respect the man's right to privacy and request for privacy. End of story. So if you want to know, did you miss anything about the Corey Perry mess? No, because I'm not talking about it anymore. He's asked for privacy, and he's going to get it from this show. But I know Terry, the lawyer, is a huge Canadian Football League fan. And in a way, I vowed in this offseason to not be the CFL show and do their marketing for them. On the flip side, we spent all of our one on hockey, and a large portion of our audience is CFL fans. It's a Canadian show on Canadian sports. There's no reason why we can't be Canada's PTI. I had coffee this morning with a guy, Greg, I told you, from Delray Beach, but he's originally from Toronto. He's the guy who coached basketball with Jeffrey Orridge. How about that? The former commissioner of the CFL. And he said there are a lot of Canadians in America that do love your show and the topics that you talk about, even though they're Canadian. And that includes the CFL. So, what did I have here? You can go to the 10 Things column. You get a lot more well thought out, not off the cuff opinions and thoughts of mine. Here, I'm just going on the fly, brother. Thinking, as is Darren, every day. Thinking on our feet. It's cool.
Yeah.
So, the insiders, TSN's Farhan Lalji and 3 Down Nation's Justin Dunk, both reporting, they're in a race to report, that the Saskatchewan Roughriders coaching search has now come down to 2 guys. Winnipeg Blue Bombers offensive coordinator Buck Pierce, Toronto Argonauts defensive coordinator Corey Mace. These 2 guys. I don't really agree with any of how this has all been conducted by the Roughriders, but whatever. Isn't it interesting that Saskatchewan scoops are coming from Vancouver, Farhan, and Hamilton, Dunk. Nobody in Sask reporting on this. I'll move on. Although I did bring it up in the column on Sunday, these 2 names. I think it's a mistake. I think you need to have coached or played there because it's a special place. It's going to take them a while to figure that out, let alone coach the team in a critical time. That's 12-24 the last 2 years. Coached or played there. And B, what about the narrative they wanted a coach that had been a head coach before? Neither of these guys have. So I said I hope they hire the good one. And maybe the guy will end up being the next Don Matthews. I don't know. But I feel like it's a major gamble. Either one. You?
I think so. Now, the more we, hear about these guys, one thing to remember is it's less of a gamble for me because of how well respected they both are. And for Buck, he's been in that, Winnipeg Blue Bombers organization through all these good times and some bad ones, I think, at the beginning, but he's been there roughly a decade, I think, right? Buck's been in Winnipeg working through the ranks, as a position coach and now the offensive coordinator and working with Mike O'Shea. So he's learned a lot of how to do things the right way. Corey Mace, from Calgary and now time in Toronto, again, learning how to do things the right way. But that doesn't always mean it's going to be a great move. I mean, we just look at the Bill Belichick disciples that never went on to do anything great. So we can look back at your past and say you've come from great organizations. But I think both of these guys are really well respected. So I think that helps. But you're right. They haven't had the head coaching experience. So it'll be interesting, whichever one's hired, who they surround themselves with in terms of coordinators and staff.
Yeah, and by the way, I have absolutely no problem talking about it because they are as Bob Merrier referred to them, the Dallas Cowboys of the Canadian Football League. Highest profile pro football team in Canada. They're the only team looking for a head coach right now. So yeah, I'll talk about it. It's what everybody that loves that league and that team is talking about. My phone's blowing up with information on it, but as you notice, I'm not reporting it anymore because I did get a bad scoop on it a couple of weeks ago, and I said, I'm out. This is dumb. It's dumb. You guys need to go learn to crochet or something. It's too stupid, the rumors that are going around. But it's come down to these 2 guys. Now, having said that, when I said you need to have played or coached there, that's just for this hire. Not everybody there has.
And where I could say that I'm wrong on that is Corey Chamberlain came in 2012. He'd never played for the Riders. He was 37 years of age. I was the voice of the team at the time. Nobody criticized that hire. I mean, nobody. Nobody criticized his age, said he wasn't ready, nothing. And by the way, he did a great job. Did he eventually go cuckoo and lose his mind? Yes, and he would tell you that. But he accomplished what they asked him to do, and that's win a Grey Cup in 2013. Corey Chamberlain, I love him. He'd never played or coached for the Riders before. I don't think he'd ever been in Saskatchewan other than to coach against the Riders. And then Greg Marshall had coached with the Rough Riders in the 90s on a staff that I was with. And he was hired in 2011, and it didn't work. And he'd been there before. Apples and oranges, different situation. I'm saying for this hire, given that some of these candidates do have this on their resume, Paul LaPolice coached in Sask, Henry Burris played there, it would help. It's just my opinion. And that's why people are watching right now. John Ohm, not to be confused with Johnny O, the new gym that I belong to and Serena's coaching at.
That's good.
He says, Rod, when you started with the Riders, was Cal Murphy the coach or Danny Barrett? Well, as I said, it was 1999. You look it up. It's Cal Murphy. And by the way, you need to understand something. Save for one season broadcasting Regina Rams football, I had never been around football people before in my life. Never, ever. Dad worked in the National Hockey League for 26 years. I played hockey. My brothers played hockey. We're a hockey family. I'd never been around these football people. I'm not saying they're nuts, but they could not be any more different than hockey people. Oh, my God. Yay! I'm trying to remember how this went. This is in my rider presentation that I give at sports banquets that hire me to come in and give a rider presentation. I'm trying to remember how this worked. Cal Murphy threw a chair at me in 1999. Did you know this story?
What?
No. It happened.
No.
This was old school, 1999. We used to, the riders would practice 2 hours a day, full pads. Training camp was two-hour sessions every day, banging heads. Old school. And we were awful, by the way. We were 3-15 that year. But we went to Toronto and had a full 2-hour practice the day before walkthrough. And some of the players were complaining to me about it. And let me remind you, I was 26 years of age. I didn't know shoot from Shinola. I didn't know anything. Still hardly do. Many would agree. So my players, friends, were complaining to me that night when we were out getting pissed drunk in downtown Toronto. Why would the coach make us bang heads for 2 hours the day before a game? Dumb. Chug-a-lug. So, of course, I'm on the air next day. We're getting our ass handed to us by the Argos. And I'm like, well, maybe this has something to do with the 2-hour practice the guys had yesterday. We get back to Regina. I get called into a meeting like I always do.
No.
And it's Cal Murphy. And he goes, who told you that? I said, who told me what? Who was bitching about our 2-hour practice the day before? I said, I'm not telling you that. Rashovich and who? I said, I'm not telling you that. Thump, chair, boom, over my head. What? And then he runs out of the room. And Al Ford, our general manager, goes, don't worry about him. His bark's worse than his bite. So now you know a little bit more about my life. I'm not going to tell you who told me. So next, chair thrown at me. Nope.
What chapter of the book is that?
Johnny O says, I want to hear a Cal Murphy story, please. That's just one of many. Allie in Texarkana says, I agree with that. Football people aren't as friendly, LOL. I didn't say they weren't friendly. I said they might be nuts. There's a difference. Mm-hmm. These football people down here, you have to understand something. Some of my closest friends, football guys, what'd I say? Chris Carter, DeBuck down at Cardinal Gibbons, Joey from Cafe Seville, Andrew Nowacki. They're friendly, but they're touched in the head. And that's coming from a guy that's touched in the head in another way. hockey guys all look the same, dress the same, act the same, largely from the same. If they're all the same, they all look like me. You know? So that's just the way that it is. Not even saying one's better or worse than the other. From the Puck and Pigskin podcast, Jason says, Rod, you could do a whole other show with just stories. Maybe I should do more stories than what we do. Anyways, we'll be right back. We do have a lot to get to today, believe it or not. And Stephen Ellis is coming up from the Daily Faceoff. We're live on Game Plus Television, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the city of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at IKSGameDay.com.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Beautiful day in South Florida. They all are. RP Show continues with episode number 1130. Checking the Twitter feed. Thank you, Michael Windog in Winnipeg from Ice Time Sports, the sporting goods store that he owns and runs. He says, Coach Cal was a wild one.
Great story, Rod. Thank you, Windog. Appreciate you. And can we bring the Moose back in? That's the one thing. We sit and talk stories forever if you want. It's really interesting. This morning when Johnny O was telling me the story, not John Ohm, Johnny O, the gym that I now belong to here, and I think he's going to start sponsoring the Cats and Bolts podcast. He talked about growing up a Bruins fan, and Darren, you'll get this. He was talking about, he goes, we were a loaded team back then, the Bruins. I said, oh yeah, Espo, Middleton, Cashman, Orr, obviously, O'Reilly, Wensing, Stan Jonathan, and he looked at me like I had three heads, which I get that look a lot. He's like, how do you know so much about the Bruins? I said, I was a Don Cherry fan. So I read all his books, watched all his videos. You know, Don Cherry made us feel like the Boston Bruins were our team. You've often said that about Grapes. I mean, I don't know, could Grapes do a 2-hour show a day telling stories? Maybe, but that's why we kind of morphed it into daytime sports talk of the topics of the day, because it'd be pretty hard to sit and tell stories every day for 2 hours. But you're a big Grapes fan too, right? Or did I misspeak?
No. Big fan. Always has been a fan of him on the air. And I'm with you. The fact that we can morph the two is good. You want to stay in a spot where everybody is saying, we want more stories. We want more stories. So give them enough to keep them coming back. And we can tell more stories. I think the stories are fun, especially in the next number of weeks as we kind of get into the holidays. That's about having a coffee or a sober carpenter and telling stories, right? And getting around the tree and stuff. So we can do that during the holidays and mix in what's topical too.
Yeah, and I do want to talk about what's topical today, and right away I will, but that's the one thing I realized, that if anybody's been paying attention over the last month, 4 to 6 weeks, we've really doubled down on the Canadian NHL teams, CFL, and whatever NFL we need, because Canadians are watching it. But I'm not trying to placate my friends in Florida and stuff. For those that say, when you start talking CFL, you lose me. When you talk junior hockey, you lose me. When you talk NLL, I get bored. I'm like, well, that's me. That's who I am. So if you don't like it, don't watch. But that's what's in my DNA. Those are my stories. Those are my friends. Those are my contacts. So then we go and started the Panthers and Lightning show, and that's worked out great too. So it's been perfect. 902, it took me 2 years to figure it out, but it takes me a while. 902-518-3033. Just a quick check. The NHL has fined Senators forward Zach McEwen for unsportsmanlike conduct for his role in the Senators 5-0 loss to Florida last night. They fined him $2,018.23. The maximum allowable for that infraction under the CBA. It occurred at 5:13 of the third when I laugh because this used to be Thursday. You know what I mean? Now it's a news release and a fine. So he chased Tkachuk across the ice and took a whack at him. Really, we're fining him? And from the Pro Football Hall of Fame, 3-time All-Pros, Julius Peppers and Antonio Gates were chosen as semifinalists for the Pro Football Hall of Fame's class of 2024 in their first year of eligibility. I'll tell you more about it a little later on. But what I wanted your take, I didn't forget that the television station, Cable Care Channel, that is anchoring our show is in Toronto. Shout out. Jeremy Davis and the Dogs in the control room. The Leafs are home to the Panthers tonight. That's your team versus my team. And how do you feel about the fact that Brad Treliving had to have a news conference yesterday, from what I can gather, because I didn't watch it, to basically explain why they're not in first place? Barney and I agree it's idiotic that he should have to do that. Or are you like the rabid media and fans? Yeah, go ahead.
Well, it was a news conference to kind of, I don't know, calm everybody down. What are you guys doing? How come you're not making any moves? Why aren't you doing this? And I mean, you kind of address the Klingberg situation and his injury, what you're trying to do on the back end. But yeah, it was largely just a media availability to have a media availability. Now, on the one hand, I love that a team will trot out the general manager just because. And I hope it wasn't, in reaction to the team not playing well or not being in first place or media pressure. I hope it's something that they just say, look, we should do this on a regular basis and make our guy available to the media and, have some transparency if there's things that they want to ask. But I fear it was a little more of the prior, where it was a little more in reaction to the team struggling and questions kind of bubbling around about what are they going to do and why aren't they making any moves?
Well, that's the point of us versus the other shows. That's what makes us different. I mean, and to be honest, I'm gonna give you a big old stinky truth bomb here. When I got people telling me all they talk about on TSN Overdrive is the Leafs, it's nauseating. I'm like, why do you keep listening then? And those are my friends, especially O-Dog. I have a personal relationship with Jeff O'Neill. I love him. But if you don't want to hear him talking about the Leafs, what do you keep listening every day for? Calgary, where I spent all that time. Hockey people blowing up my phone. These guys on Fan 960 have no idea what they're talking about. Or Flame staff leaving the rink. Next day calling me. These guys at the postgame show have no clue what went on in that game or in our dressing room. I'm like, please stop complaining to me. It's been a few years, Darren. I'm kind of at the point now I don't answer the calls anymore. You keep listening.
Yeah.
And that's fine, but don't call me to complain. Please. Point being, the up and down. The Leafs win 2-3 in a row. It'll literally be, they'll be making playoff plans. And no team is, to be honest with you, you might laugh when I say this, but I feel like Oiler fans are like the most reasonable in the country. I'm not joking. When they suck, they know it. They weren't calling for Woodcroft to be fired. They weren't. I live with one of the Oiler fans. She wasn't calling for them to be fired, other than to say they got to do something. That was Holland's or whoever's decision. It wasn't the fans. Toronto, unhinged. Montreal, hey, they're nuts, but at least they're one way. And we know several of them. Like literally when Montreal sucks, Montreal sucked for 2 solid years. You don't hear any bitching out of there. Other than Bob Merrier, Chris Nyland, our friends going, when we come back, we'll kick your ass. You know what I mean? But they're not sitting there crying for any, like they're behind their team no matter what. Vancouver is like they're emotionally damaged. That's I'm not qualified to talk about what Vancouver Canucks fans. Ottawa, permanent state of depression. That ain't changing. Agree or disagree with this? With what I've just said? The Calgary fans are just, they're going nuts now. They're going nuts. They've won a few games, and now they're great. And it turns me off, man.
Yeah. You're really bang on about Vancouver. I mean, with all the training that you have, behavioral therapy training, and, all the certificates that are stacked up on your desk, you still don't have enough qualifications to talk to the Vancouver Canuck fans, because they're on another planet. And I love them too. And I like the Canucks. They're my second team. You know that. We've talked about that on the show. I would say Montreal is probably the one fan base I never hear anything from. And it's because they're always supporting their team. They're rabid, and sure, they don't like when things aren't going well, but they're never flip-flop. They never, ever, ever flip-flop out of Montreal. Never. So I'll be with you.
And I respect that.
Edmonton's interesting. Yeah, Edmonton's interesting too.
Oh, dude, and Winnipeg's on their own island that they're negative even when they're winning. Rick Bowness was coming back and people were saying, oh, get ready for the losing streak. I'm like, get away from me. They're not even losing and you're being negative. JSA Sports. Is that you, Arnie? JSA Sports watching on YouTube says, right on with the TSN analogy. Stephen Ellis, our next guest, joining us from the Daily Faceoff. He says, tree living is being made available more often than Dubas this year. More open communication. Yeah, in year one. How many years? Talk to me after year 5. And let's see if Tree is as open with the media. That's, again, I was saying to my guy Greg this morning, we had coffee. He's from Toronto, lives here now. I said, I can't speak for Toronto people, and I won't, because I've never lived there. Not a day in my life have I lived there. I've stayed there, road trips and so forth, had a lot of fun. Never examined the mentality. I can't get in their heads. They have their own mentality there in Toronto, so I don't know what their deal is, other than they're irrational when it comes to their team too. Anything else you got?
That's pretty good. I know we haven't talked, and I know you'll talk, more about the games tonight. We haven't talked much about it, but that game here is going to be really good. We haven't put a bet on it. I don't know if we should. And that Oiler game is going to be really good tonight too.
Which other game?
Then the Oilers play tonight.
Florida. Oh, the Oilers,
Florida,
Vegas.
Toronto,
yeah.
And then the Oiler game.
Oh, is that a doubleheader in your country, in the Great White North? On
it will
television?
be. Well, 7 and 9, right? So it won't be quite. They'll overlap a little bit. That Anaheim-Vancouver game, the late game, will be the back half of the doubleheader.
Well, I'll tell you, every night's been good as far as any night there's hockey. It's great. I don't really understand. This is a topic for another time, maybe a therapist couch. This is what I don't get. And it's fun learning everything. People talk about, I met with my advisor last week. He's like, huge balls by you to pack a bag and go to Florida and start over. Huge balls. Yeah, thank you. Hasn't totally been easy, but it's been a hell of a lot of fun. But I'm sitting here looking at the Thanksgiving schedule. NFL only, no NHL, no NBA that day, which you would all understand. We don't want to compete with the NFL on Thanksgiving. Sure. But on the opening day of the NBA season, the NHL had 14 games. It was like they took it right between the eyeballs of the NBA. Oh, yeah? Your opening night? Watch this. That was the NHL Frozen Frenzy Day.
Yes.
So,
it was.
Yeah, so clearly you're not afraid of the NBA, but you're very afraid of the NFL. I need to find out why. Maybe they feel their fan bases are just so totally different. I don't know. Anyways, Stephen Ellis coming in next. Moose, hope you had fun today. I know I did.
Tons of fun. Enjoy.
Good. Stephen Ellis, as promised, in next from the Daily Faceoff. We are live on the Game Plus TV network, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Hi, my name's Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
It's a 10-game NHL slate on this Tuesday in the National Hockey League. And I'll be honest, a lot of Leaf fans out there, a lot of Panthers fans around here. They collide tonight, Florida at Toronto, Scotiabank Arena. Stephen Ellis covers the Leafs and everything hockey at Daily Faceoff. And I would not be wrong, would I, Stephen, in saying that you are a Leafs fan? That would not be wrong nor offend you. Would I be right in that?
I never was a Leafs fan. I grew up a Canadiens fan, but I will be at the game tonight, though. I just got back from morning skate about 20 minutes ago.
Oh, well, I'm sorry I got it wrong. Blasphemous. So fair enough. Probably makes it a lot easier for you to cover the Toronto Maple Leafs. So every day's a new day. Are we talking about the Tree Living News Conference yesterday, or have we moved on to what was said at the morning skate in advance of the big match tonight?
Being at the morning skate today, I was not at the thing yesterday, which I moved on from that pretty quickly. The morning skate had the most generic answers I've ever heard, but that's okay. You know, the players were just like, you know, John Tavares said that this is just another game. Younger guys, Matthew Nyes, Jake McCabe, they're saying, you know, we get fired up for a matchup like this when we know what happened last spring. We don't want that to happen again. Because if you look at the last time these two teams played against each other earlier this year, the Panthers won that too. So it's been a while.
Yeah, I was at that game here. They won it handily. What's changed with the Leafs since? I don't feel like anything.
It's, you know, you look team, the defense has been a bit of a disaster. You never know what the deal is with the goaltending on a night-to-night basis, but it's a team that could still outscore you and will find ways to get creative on the score sheet, you know. They've played a bunch of overtime games. They've played a lot of one-goal games. It's not like the last couple of losses have been these crushing defeats, but the goaltending's just been a concern for them. You know, whether it be Samsonov, whether it be Woll, it's just not been where it needs to be for a contending team.
I know you know the game, and I know you know it well. Are the goalies just not good enough, or are they not playing a good enough defensive team game? And we see enough teams that are. Like, listen, Tampa Bay was winning games without Vasilevsky. Nobody talked about it because nobody follows Tampa Bay, largely. You got the Oilers, far better goalies than probably the Leafs and Lightning, frankly. At least one of them, Jack Campbell's got the resume for it. They can't win. Fire the coach.
So whose fault is it that the Leafs goaltending hasn't been what they'd like it to be?
A lot of it goes down to defense. When you look at that group, Timothy Liljegren's dealt with injuries. John Klingberg's hurt right now, and probably won't be coming back. That's kind of a blessing in disguise, given the way he was playing. I think everyone kind of expected him to not be the defenseman he once was, but I don't think anyone expected him to be basically just this broken player that was just physically not able to compete anymore. Then you get these games where it's a close game and Samsonov will just miss an easy glove save or just they'll go between his legs. And he's been a big problem for this team where they need him to be their number one guy. Right now, one of the best goalies in the AHL is Dennis Hildeby, and he's a Leafs prospect, but he's still a few years away. But they got to determine who that guy is going to be long-term number one. I'm almost leaning towards Joe Woll right now. A big goalie, smart goalie, had to fight off a lot of injuries to get to where he is, and he's playing really well. But just they need these timely saves. They're just not getting.
Kelly Rudy, God love him, went out of his way to point out mistakes by Mitch Marner on Hockey Night in Canada the other night and his bad body language that went with it. And Matthew Barnaby here on this show an hour ago said that he needs to go. Marner needs to go. Are you in that camp?
You look at what Marner was able to do last year when he was playing at full bore. He was the best player on the Leafs. It seems to be that he is a streaky bit player, but I don't think anyone's talking about him leaving if he's not on the Toronto Maple Leafs. I think it's just you look at the market and you look at all the attention he gets, but he's still one of the more valuable players. He's still very good defensively. Yeah, he's not scoring at the rate he was last year. He's not doing that, but he's still doing really well in the takeaway front. He's one of the more reliable forwards in the defensive zone. You need a guy like that. So you don't get a good replacement for him. Trading any of those core players, I know that's been a hot topic last couple of years, you're not getting a good enough return to make it make sense.
Paul Jefferson's watching in Humboldt, and he says Fraser Minton was traded to the Saskatoon Blades. Were the Leafs involved in that, do you think?
So when it comes to that, the NHL teams do get a bit involved. They want their players obviously trying to have a chance to compete with for the Memorial Cup. And they gave him a chance to play on a better team. He gets to play with Brandon Lisowski, who's also another Leafs prospect. And we're going to probably see Fraser Minton playing a big part of Canada's World Junior team. So I think the one about the trade of when it happened is he just kind of started getting comfortable in the WHL. And then you look at he gets traded after only a few games, and now he's probably going to be heading here to Oakville shortly for the World Junior camp. So he's going to be a busy guy, but I think that this is a good look for him. I just wrote about it. I think this is a good opportunity for him to maybe play some of the best hockey of his junior career.
Well, things change. I was in the Western Hockey League 17 seasons as the radio voice, about 3 or 4 more on television. I don't ever remember an NHL team being involved in a trade. And I rode the bus. I was there. I roomed with the general manager for years. So things change. Clark did prep me up and say to ask you about the World Juniors, Oakville, so forth. They're heading across the pond for it. What's Canada's team going to look like?
This is a good team. Probably not the favorites. I'm thinking the Americans are the team to watch, where Cole Eiserman is a top 3 prospect for this year's draft, and he's probably not going to make the team. That's just how good that U.S. team is. But Canada, likely no Shane Wright, obviously no Bedard, likely no Korchinski, no Matthew Poitras, but they're still going to have one of the best goalies in the CHL and Mathis Rousseau. They've got some really good young defensemen. They're just deep kind of throughout the field there. Tristan Luneau being the big kind of draw, the Anaheim Ducks prospect. And then you look up front, and Macklin Celebrini, the top prospect for 2024, dominating the NCAA right now. He's going to be a huge part of this group. Obviously, Fraser Minton talked about him. Owen Beck, Montreal Canadiens prospect. Matthew Savoy, you guys obviously get to see him a lot in the WHL. You know what he's capable of. I think Zach Benson will be loaned out. We'll see. My guess is they're just going to, instead of, he's been start-stop this year, instead of sending him back to the WHL, I think they're going to wait till World Junior camp and then send him to that head. But Canada should compete for a medal. I don't think they're going to be the gold medal favorite, but if they get the goaltending that we've seen out of guys like Devin Levi or Joel Hofer in the past, like You just never know. So I do expect a medal, but this feels like it's going to be USA's year.
You've been watching the World Juniors forever. Connor Bedard leading NHL rookie points with 17 in, I think it's 18 games. Who is his biggest competition for the Calder? If he doesn't win it, who will it be? And Pavel, how do you say it? The Ducks kid, Mintyukov?
Yes, Mintyukov, yep. So
you see him being a finalist?
Right now, I don't know if I'd put him there yet. Like, he's obviously having an incredible season. It's tough for a defenseman to get to that point. I guess the one guy I'm looking at here is Logan Cooley. I'm trying to bring up his numbers here, but he's been, in Arizona, he's been so valuable. He's second in scoring. He's got 13 points, but he does a lot more than just produce for this team. He's a very good two-way player. So smart, so skilled. I think he'll be up there for sure. But Mintyukov, what he's been doing with Anaheim, I expected him to take a year and maybe play a bit of AHL hockey to kind of get used to it. Because he was outstanding in the OHL last year, but that was still a big step up. But he's been one of the most valuable players on this team. So we'll see. I know we were kind of just crapping on Joe Woll a little bit, but his numbers are still good enough to the point where he's got to be kept in the conversation. The first month of the season, it was looking like Ridley Gregg and Lucas Dostal were the two guys that everyone was talking about as the best contenders. And Gregg's been hurt and Dostal's kind of fallen off a cliff. But I don't think it matters who the finalists are. It's Connor Bedard's trophy. Just give it to him now.
Stephen, I just looked. I don't have your cell number, so I'm going to DM you my cell number. Sorry. I see we have DM'd each other back and forth. I just sent you a picture of you and me at the Rogers Place in Edmonton. Remember that?
Yes.
Where you
yes,
thought you were going to be late. That's when I realized you were a great guy, because you showed up in a sweat in the coldest rink in North America because you were afraid you're going to be late, and you made it. I'm like, this kid cares. So anyways, I'm going to send you my cell number. If you wouldn't mind texting me a photo or two tonight from the game, would be great. And I appreciate the time. Enjoy it.
Yeah, perfect. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Stephen. Stephen Ellis from the Daily Faceoff, covers the National Hockey League World Juniors, as you can tell. Prospects. He's one of the best out there. We'll be right back with Overtime. I got questions and comments loaded up and ready to go, but there is room for yours, 902-518-3033, or the YouTube chat. We'll be back in a moment on Game Plus Television, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Hi, my name is Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the city of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new Halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at iksgameday.com.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Okay, everybody, overtime is at hand, and it's brought to you by our friends at Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. Yes, a shooting lane. It's like a driving range, but for hockey. They are located at 28th Street Northeast in Calgary, where skill and fun collide, an amusement park for hockey enthusiasts. Check them out and tell them Rod sent you. They'll give you a good seat in the bathroom. 902-518-3033, the number. Yeah, buddy. Number to text us here, 902-518-3033. Sober Carpenter text line. This one's getting a little warm. It's been sitting in the sun for the last 2 hours. It's cool enough. I was going to crack it, but it is the raspberry sour. This was shipped to me by Sober Carpenter. What the heck? I'll down it. Maybe have it with a little lunch. It's non-alcoholic beer, everybody, just so you know. Norm Fong, the Hall of Fame equipment manager of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, former equipment manager of the Los Angeles Sharks, texting a hockey team. Fongo writes in and says, Rod, you are so right when you compare football people and hockey people. It's like comparing apples and oranges. Both great people, but very different views. That's from Fongo. And it's not even a Canadian-American thing. I've spent decades thinking about this. It's not hockey players are from Canada, football players are from USA. Nope, because the Canadian football people are just like the American football people. Agree or disagree, Fongo? It's not like I haven't traveled millions of miles and stayed with both to have these observations. Bill in Toronto writes, he's a Toronto Leafs fan, but he lives in Regina. Bill writes in, he says, LOL, I just tuned in to hear the chair throwing story from Cal Murphy. Yes, you should tell more during the weeks ahead. The thing is, I need you to prop me up. Like, I feel like the guy that comes in to give a speech, we'd rather do a Q&A when we're coming in as the guest speaker. Then I know what you want. Just tee me up and I can talk for hours. But to sit here and talk about what I want to talk about might miss the mark, even though it is the Rod Pedersen Show. The view for sports fans. Which, speaking of, I'll get to the sports update in a moment. Jerry in Saskatoon writes in and regarding Darren calling football games. Canada West football games. He says, tell him to wear his glasses so he can call the right tackler. Ha. How about that? Is Moose listening? Apparently he's been misidentifying the tacklers. It happens. That's another thing I don't miss. Calling the play-by-play. It just dawned on me. I hated that. You make a mistake, everybody's up your ass. On this show, As my good friend My Ideal Mike said, nobody can tell you what to do because nobody's done it before. Bingo. Got any sound effects back there, Clark? There you go. You can't tell me what to do because nobody's done it before. John Glowa writes in, why are you guys talking about hot dogs? Did I miss something? Oh, John says, hey, Rod, I'm on my way to Costco. Need anything? Yeah, some coffee pods, please. The single Keurigs, please and thank you. Thanks, Johnny boy. There's not much else there I want. This is the breaking news of the day. I got to go to the top of the page. Bear with me. Has to do with Patrick Kane. He is signing with the Detroit Red Wings, according to a source telling the Associated Press. The 35-year-old Kane was an unrestricted free agent rehabbing from hip resurfacing surgery in June. He has been skating since August and told the Associated Press in September that he's starting to feel like his old self. Three-time Stanley Cup champion with Chicago. Had other suitors. He chose Detroit over the Sabres, Maple Leafs, and Panthers. Ending the show where we started this, that was the buzz in the press box here on Sunrise the other night, last week. Kane's coming. This is from people that I trust. They were wrong. He's going to Detroit. And Matthew Barnaby gave us great analysis last hour saying it's more than I thought he'd get. Right? $2.75 million. I thought he'd go for one. Barney says the Red Wings aren't even a Stanley Cup contender. And to be honest, who really is? They're third in the division right now, the Atlantic Division, the Detroit Red Wings. Last minute of play in the RP show today. Who is a Stanley Cup contender? I would like to think Florida is. It sounds like he went for the most money. That's what it just looks like, which surprises me a little bit. But he's got his Stanley Cups. He's got 3. I understand the more you win, the more you want. I get it. It's like when we were divvying up after my dad passed away and his 2 Stanley Cup rings. Divvying it up amongst my brothers. My mom was like, well, Roddy has 2 Grey Cup rings, so he doesn't need any. I'm like, yeah, Mom, it doesn't work that way, but whatever. I'm not interested in them. I didn't win them, so I don't want them. Oh, Wayne in BC says, great show as always. Have a great day, Rod Squad. Touchdown BC, it sounds like. Touchdown Pacific being announced tomorrow by the BC Lions, the CFL, and the City of Victoria. That'll be something we'll talk about tomorrow. We'll see you tomorrow, noon Eastern.
McFly, hello.